Hi, morning all. Lenore Kerrigan, Country Sales Director for UiPath Southern Africa. Very excited to be at AI Expo Africa over the next couple of days. Great conversations with customers. So why are we here? UiPath is the #1 robotics process automation organization globally, and in fact the fastest growing enterprise software company in history, which is, for me, an amazing experience, having been in the IT industry for 35 years. And why is it the fastest growing enterprise organization globally? I think it's really because automation is essential in today's enterprise. We have seen the rise of the digital natives across the globe and being incredibly successful, providing us services that we couldn't have imagined only a few years ago. And you have your legacy organizations, everything from banking and insurance organizations, telcos, retail industries that are now competing against these digital platforms to drive a customer experience that we are now demanding because we have this expectation. And every organization, every enterprise today, I think bar none, have a digital transformation agenda. And to transform your bricks and mortar organization to compete with your digital natives is tough. And one of the biggest ways to accelerate digital transformation is driving automation in the organization, wanting to be able to do things a whole lot quicker with a better experience for customers and also to employees. But in a world where we have massive compliance and regulatory requirements, that also becomes a challenge. So robotic process automation addresses this problem right at the sweet spot with a very big and quick turnaround in many areas. It's effective and applied in every industry and, in fact, in every business area within the industry. And why are we at AI Expo? Well, as we're seeing automation now starting to take hold, we've also seen organizations struggling with moving into artificial intelligence. And there are amazing artificial intelligence algorithms out there, some fantastic solutions. But the challenge your AI engines have is trying to get to the information. Organizations have got so much information, and this is where the automation side comes in, to be able to reach across legacy systems, across all business areas, and to be able to present that information to your artificial intelligence engines. So I would also like to ask your opinion on where you're seeing RPA and AI coming together. Florin, if you can share. I mean, it's wonderful that you've come to South Africa to join us at this event. So share with us why you're here and your views on RPA and AI coming together.
Sure. So I'm Florin Manole. I'm also part of UiPath. I'm part of the product development department, focusing on the AI technologies and analytics as well. I only took part of RPA and took knowledge of it about 1 year ago. I was doing mainly data science before that. And it was funny because I was kind of missing a technology while working. And RPA came into picture, and it's a very good technology, even for data scientists, because it helps you move data around and leverage some of the data that you have. And you're not able to use it traditionally, or you don't have to code to actually work with it. You can just use it while leveraging RPA and do your data science on top of it, and that's quite cool. But to come back to the actual question, I've been here because we are working on some very interesting technologies, and one of them is leveraging this AI in a more easy-to-use way, because we are working on a product that is going to enable companies to actually consume machine learning algorithms without having to code them. So if you have a provider that will give you your algorithm, if you have a solution already built by your data science team, you can now actually use it. You will deploy it on our platform, and building a simple workflow, you can actually call those algorithms quite easily, get your output back, and use it in your daily processing or business processes across various departments. And that's one of the key capabilities that we are working on as we speak.
Florin, thanks for sharing that. I think maybe just to expand on that, it all sounds like a lot of techno mumbo jumbo, but the reality that we're seeing in customers is RPA is able to give very quick benefits to organizations at a very basic level very quickly, and that's where we see customers starting to scale from there. Just to give you a couple of examples, we've got a customer in supply chain. Now, supply chain can be quite a complex, paper-driven, human, tedious, laborious activity. They have very high activity in the December period with a lot of shipments coming in, and typically they were experiencing truckloads standing outside their warehouse waiting to be checked in. And a typical shipment was taking them somewhere between 3 to 4 hours to actually process the shipment. So hence they were getting these queues. They introduced their robot, and what I love about it is most customers give their robots a name. So they introduced Betsy, and interestingly enough, the lady who headed up the shipping department, she said that she wasn't looking forward to this at all, because she felt a threat because of the robot coming in, and she said Betsy wasn't her bestie. But after they got the robot up and running, the robot is now able to process those shipments that were taking traditionally between 3 to 4 hours. They're processing a shipment on average in 4 minutes. This is the phenomenal change that we're seeing. And now when we talk to this very same lady, she says, Betsy is definitely her bestie. And why is that? Because the sad part is she felt that her value was actually processing this paperwork. But she'd been with the company for 20 years. The intellectual capital that she has on shipments is phenomenal. And the organization wasn't able to unlock that value that she can offer to the organization because she was just too busy, for the want of a better description, doing stuff. So what has happened is because of all the technology available today and the connectivity that we have available to us every day, we've got to a tipping point where we've started to kid ourselves by just doing stuff every day. We're being effective. We're not. We're just doing stuff. So the idea of RPA is really to take the robot out of the human, because we have become robots. We're just doing things as opposed to doing what we should be doing, and that is being human, which is thinking, caring, applying our minds, being creative, and most important in the world that we see today, being innovative. We just actually don't have time to think and be innovative. So that is really where robotics is coming into play, where we talk about software robots or RPA. And it's about taking the robot out of the human and putting the humans back into us to stop us being humans doing and come back to being humans being. And I think the next step that we're going to see now is as some of the processes and robots in specific back-end operations are really starting to prove fruit, like the example I gave, is the next thing is we're going to see the digital assistant. So robotic process automation, or RPA as we refer in our way we summarize everything in the tech industry, we're starting to see it moving to an individual personalized level, where we are now seeing more and more examples of what we call the digital assistant. Now, I give my age away here, but I remember when the first spreadsheet came out. I used to work on analysis paper as an accountant manually and try and add up the columns. When the first spreadsheet came out, it was revolutionary for me as an accountant. It changed my world. Today, I think there is hardly a business person out there who doesn't use a spreadsheet. It's just a standard tool. You use it for your home budgeting and you use it for your complex business budgeting and consolidations. It is just a given tool. So when you join a company today, you expect to get a laptop, you expect to get a mobile phone, you expect to get your spreadsheets and equivalent tools. What we foresee in the very near future is when you join a company, you will now expect to also get your digital assistant. So in other words, I will have my personal robot on my software, which will do the automatic processes for me. So typically when I come in a day, I would log into a system, pull down a report, check a foreign exchange rate, extract it into some kind of graph, take the graph, put it in a PowerPoint and email it to the boss before I can go for my coffee. Well, now I'll walk in, as soon as I switch my machine on, my bot will do that for me before I've even got up to go and get my cup of coffee. So we can now start doing various other things with our spare time that we could never have thought of doing before. So I put to you, Florin, where do you see the world of really the bot for every person evolving to, or the digital assistant I was referring to?
Yeah, it's a very good point actually. The technology is moving in such a fast pace that we are going to see more and more cognitive assistants, that they are going to be able to solve more complex problems just like humans do. Basically, when you receive an email, for example, you actually have to read it, you understand what you're talking about there. If it's a person that is addressing a question to you, you need to understand the context and you are able to respond to it. Basically, the digital assistant will be able to understand that for you and maybe take an action in your place so that you can free up some of your time to actually come up with new ideas for your businesses and leverage that in a more, let's say, productive way throughout your day. More examples could be, for example, you have applications that are doing very complex things today. Some of those things could be broken down into smaller pieces. For example, if you have a customer base and you have to look at it on a regular basis, every week, every month, again, a robot could do that and take an action in your place. He can run the algorithms, he can take the decision in your place. If it's above a certain threshold, he could, for example, trigger a marketing campaign for that customer base. You don't have to actually do it manually. So again, ease of use, and your assistant could do some of those actions in your place, taking decisions even based on cognitive capabilities.
And I think this is what is exciting. You know, the only limitation is actually our imagination. And the other big area that I think we're going to see moving to is, typically in the past, we've always worked in a sporadic way, where we typically think this is what we do on a daily basis, this is what we do on a weekly or a monthly basis. Finance and accounting, which is my background, is the area where we're seeing robotic process automation being heavily used at the moment, because there is a lot of tedious, mundane, repetitive work, reconciliations, that kind of thing. And typically, we would only have done manually a reconciliation once a month, whether it's a debtor, a creditor, a cash reconciliation, because we just only have the human hours to do it once a month. Now, because of having the technologies to automate this, we now start talking about doing perpetual activity, where there is no reason why your bot can't perpetually be doing a reconciliation of a particular environment and give you a heads up as soon as something goes wrong. The other thing as well is, if we have a look at the ability to go to information outside of our organization. Let's have a look at looking at resource pricing or financial indices, etc. Typically, you would go and get that information on a sporadic basis. You could now have your bot literally trawling websites, financial sites, and watching indices for any kind of major move. And as soon as a move takes place, it can alert you and take certain decisions on activities within your business. To bring it down to the personal level, my husband was doing the online shopping the other day. I'm very fortunate, he does that for me. And I said to him, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just put your shopping basket out there to multiple retailers and it will come back to you and tell you who's the cheapest this week for that shopping basket? You can do that today with what is available with RPA and digital assistants. And the reality with the rise of the millennials who just think this way, they like it the easy route because they've grown up with technology. This is the consumer that those very legacy bricks and mortar organizations are trying to reach and drive growth and profitable business. So if you don't change the way you think and the way you work with this demanding new consumer that's rising, and let me tell you, I've seen many 70-year-olds writing their own robots, which is really interesting. The consumer is fundamentally changing. So automation is becoming critical to all organizations because of the demand from the market out there. It's very exciting times. It's a whole new wave of where technology is going, and I'm very pleased to be part of it.
Me too. Actually, I love this technology, even though I didn't use it up until 1 year ago.
Yeah.